Hello everyone. I'm so happy to have Harshit with me. Harshit Gupta, All India rank 4. And I'm really very proud of you, Harshit, for scoring such a great rank. And I'm happy, or LawPrap is happy to have been part of your journey, making sure that you can practice or get help as much as we can. So congratulations, Harshit. It's a
Thanks a lot,
huge
ma'am.
feat.
LPT also played a part in my journeys. So that has been my honor to be here.
Thank you so much, Harshit. So I would want you to tell, because this session, we have done a short session already, which I guess student must have seen. But a lot of students at the center wanted a detailed guide from you about subjects. Like how should they go about the subject part, like the serious content part, not necessarily the fun part, but the serious content
Yeah,
part.
right.
What should they be doing? How many hours? Because 2023 people, they have very less time.
Right. But I think that has been an advantage.
Okay.
If we look at the part, if they are a 2022, 2023 students and then they have board also, they would end up stressing themselves more. Like now it's before board, so they can actually focus on CLAT before that. And once the CLAT is done, they can shift their focus on the boards score there also.
Yes,
Like
because
personally, I suggest that we should not prepare for boards. Like just do it once or 2 days night before that.
but you are very talented, beta. So that is why for you 2 days is enough. You think it would be enough for even everyone else?
I think it's not about scoring 100 marks or 90 marks. The cutoff for CLAT is 45 marks, 45 percentage. So
Yes,
basically try
12.
to get 60, 70%, or if you are good enough for 90, 95% would be better.
Good, good. Okay. So, Harshit, if I talk about first, let's talk about this itself. You had your boards also, and then you had your CLAT preparation also. How did you manage it? Like, what was your division of time, and how did you prepare for the same?
I would say it's not about managing things. Like I always struggle with that. First, it was the practicals, then it was the boards. They take a lot of time and they are exhaustive as well. Like you have to travel there, give a exam, then you have to come back. You are also tired, but you have next exam scheduled maybe in a week or just 2 or 3 days after that. So basically, it's easy to say that you can manage it. Just give 2 to 3 hours for boards and other time for two CLAT. But when it comes to you to manage both of that, you actually end up like doing whatever is the best possible at that moment. Like sometime you give 4 to 5 hours also. Sometime you make a complete night study for that. Like
You
if I say about accounts, that was the most troubling subject for me. I have to study whole day for to the last 2 days. Like I didn't study for CLAT in these 2 days.
right? Okay. So those 2 days you would skip, but you had been preparing for a bit of boards subjects or anything.
No, actually, I was the last day person in these things.
Okay.
So I devoted whole of my time for the clatter in normal days. But when it comes to pre-boards or my boards, then I had to shift my focus. Otherwise, I won't be able to score that much.
Right, right,
So I
right.
think let's just have the things as they are going. We should not actually focus on managing both of these or giving 2 to 3 hour daily or 1 hour daily. Like most people say that you should do maths daily for the boards part, not the flat one. So in
Right.
this,
So
I
you
suggest
can,
get
yes,
your
what would you
concept right.
suggest?
I suggest get your concept right. Like you should know what is your syllabus and what are the basic things in that. And then in the last few days, you can actually learn them, like solve the example parts or read the theory books and just give the exam. It's mostly theoretical and a lot of sample papers are also released. So it's not that tough.
Right. So consistently, if you work on it, थोड़ा, तो by the end of the exam, ठीक हो जाता है.
You would be comfortable and you will be able to solve them.
Right, right, right. So, like, as far as your school is concerned, school management, were they supportive with respect to how you were going for a preparation, or you
They
were
were
anyways
mostly
regular?
supported.
Yes.
They were supportive with me. Like they have never created an issue with my attendance or like I was not attending my pre-boards. I have skipped a lot of them to be honest. Like I attempted 50% of the test, 50% in term one, and then in the other one. Like
Okay.
I gave English in pre-board one, then I skipped English in pre-board two. Like this, I have done. So,
So
but they were
your
supportive in that part.
right. So even the school should get thanks for your CLAT, I
Yes,
guess.
of course, ma'am.
Right.
Otherwise, it would have been a trouble, especially if the offline classes were there.
Right. Okay. Also, were you an avid reader, or how did you develop your vocabulary?
I was not an avid reader personally, but then after 10th, I started developing interest in law field, so I had to read. Like that's the basic criteria of law. And like I was exploring, as I said, in class 9th. So that's the first part everyone suggested in their videos. Like you should be able to read bulky contents. Like you have to read judgments, you have to read some books. So that was the criteria one, and I worked on that as well. I read newspapers, I read novels, I read magazines also. Even in the starting times, I read Frontline. After that, I stopped it because it was political. But just that, I started with these to develop my interest in that.
Right. So every time you sat for study, was it a long stretch of hours, or was it with breaks?
It was with break, not exactly a Pomodoro, but 30-minute type. Like I started with 30 minutes, then I take a break. Then after that, I may start even for 1 hour also. It was not fixed, but I don't usually get up that early. Like I am getting up after 10 minutes or 5 minutes. That was not my style.
Okay. And as far as your timetable related to CLAT preparation was concerned, what kind of targets would you set for yourself related to content, and how would you divide your preparation time?
My target was usually about doing the task. Like I put target as reading newspaper, solving some module, then giving some mock, or basically anything about the targets, and then I try to checkpoint everything like that. Like some people have the target about timing, like from this time to this time they will do this thing, but I have a task type work. Like I mark the task that I have to do for the whole day and I solve them.
Okay. Okay. So you make sure that whatever target you have set for the day, you would complete that.
It's never completed. Like I set some target that is not possible to be completed, at least not at my caliber, but
Okay.
I end up solving most of the parts, so it's better. Like if you put too little, then you would be able to solve and then feel happy about that. But instead of that, put everything, like something you were not able to solve yesterday, that put that also, or put something that you want to solve for a long time, but it will take time. You also know that, like it's a 4 hour 5 hour job, but you still put it and then shift it to the tomorrow as well, like if you are not able to complete that.
But you would set higher targets for yourself to do more and more things.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So wouldn't that sometimes frustrate you if you're not able to complete your to-do list?
I think I know myself. I know ये होने नहीं वाले पूरे, but still I set up, because if I feel bored, I can easily switch to the topics as well. Like if I'm tired of English, I can switch to some other task of mine. If you are putting just two, I mean very less topics, then you don't have a choice. You have to do that topic even if you are bored. So that provided a variety as well.
Right. Would you suggest, with respect to subjects, would you suggest students to do all subjects daily, or how should they go about this thing?
I think there are not many subjects as far as CLAT is concerned. Like English, CR, and legal can be clubbed together as reading parts. So I think the major thing is to read newspaper daily. That would take around 2 hours or 1 hour of your. After that, you can put maybe English and CR as one. Like for practice part, you can solve LSAT or GMAT probably. So that would concern about 3 subjects of your in one day. Then after that, you can practice with the QT as well. Like I don't suggest doing daily QT, but I think you should have a flow with that. Like maybe solve in 3 or 2 days. That would be perfect.
Right. So, let's go subject wise now, right?
Yes, ma'am. Right.
So, as far as your CRRC is concerned, like they can be part of verbal reasoning as such. So, what did you do for them? What are the things you would recommend students to do for excelling, for starting one? How to start with the subject? Because there would be a lot of people who would be seeing your videos with respect to how to go about even start with the subject, and then how to move on to the practice part or excel with respect to these subjects.
I think there are two parts to that. First one is about comprehending the things, and second is about having your concepts right. So for comprehending, the basic thing is to get your vocab done and be uh, a diverse reader. Like you should have a knowledge about every subject, be it economics, be it space, be it politics, and especially legal. Like if you need a newspaper, you will find 1 to 2 editorials of legal every day, especially in Hindu. So give a special focus on them and on that. And for the practice part, I think LSAT is a very good source. You can try that. Like the concept, I always like that basically, the RC and the CR. So you can practice from it.
Right, it is very good.
The level is tougher, but that will prepare you for the CLAT, even if it is hard.
Right. Right. So that is for CRRC section, right? Okay. And any extra books you think the students can use other than the mock test and the institute material they have?
Word Power made easy.
Right.
Then Ren and Martin, English is easy. RS Agarwal, verbal ability.
Right.
Then MK Pandey one can try. GMAT original guide, LSAT prep test.
Very good.
For these sections, these are really good books of having a lot of concept and practices.
Right. So, but when I recommend these books, no, a lot of students have this issue that, ma'am, ये तो CLAT pattern का question नहीं है.
But the basic thing is to get the skills.
Yes.
Like CLAT में कुछ भी आ सकता है. हमें पता भी नहीं है CLAT का pattern क्या है अभी. Like if you see the last 3 years, they are experimenting with themselves personally. Like let's see 2020. It was basically fiction and some non-editorial parts. Then 2021 was totally editorial part. Then 2022 was non-fiction, but still non-editorial part. Right. So next year they can give fiction part, they can give non-fictional, they can give some scientific explanation, some anything basically. So if you have the skills, you will be able to manage them.
So if you do variety of things, you are prepared for any contingency.
Yes. Plus you have to do 5-year law as well. So let's gain the maximum skills here. Like so that you are comfortable even after cracking the CLAT. Like some of you might get into the NLS as well. So after that, you will find students who have a lot of knowledge about a lot of things. So to compete with them, you have to have some knowledge. And Ren and Martin or Word Power Made Easy are really good books for that.
Right, right. Okay, so that is with regards to RCCR. Now let's talk about the legal section. How should they prepare for it? How to start with it? And then how to move on to better topics and how to practice?
Start for it is always the concept part. Like I started with taught. That was the chapter 1 when you received the modules. So I started with the taught. It was some 50-60 pages of a module. Then I do the PYQ of that. After that, I move to contracts. So for anyone starting with the law, I think the start would be to the concept part. But like liquidator or injuria sine damnum. Yes. Basically get these terms, get the concepts, how the language is framed, what is the definition of a contract. Then after that, you can move to the practice part, reading various judgments, reading some editorials based upon legal terms or legal developments. Basically, even if we see the 2021 and 2022, they are both based upon your interpretation and the comprehending skill about legal topics. Like the answer is in the passage itself. So try to get comfortable with your legal language. You should be able to understand what the principles are, what are the rules underlined, what is the author's opinion upon that. And based upon that, you should be able to derive your answers.
Right. So with respect to legal, this is what you would suggest. But just a minute. So with respect to legal, this is what you would suggest. But other than that, let's talk about the quant section. How to start with the preparation of quant and then how to, practice.
The starting chapter for quant is always percentage for me. The percentage, profit and loss, and ratio. If you are comfortable with these 3 sections, I think you will be able to do majority of the maths that CLAT asks. Like there are various other topics as well. There is time and work, there is percentage, there is mensuration, there is probability. But the point is get these topics first and then work on your calculations. Like if we see 2021 and 2022, these two serve as a canon, I feel. So they have asked ratio and percentage mainly. The task for you is to calculate how many percentage people are there, then divide it into ratios, get a table basically, and based upon that answer the required questions. So get these part done, and if you can learn cube, square roots, and tables till 20, that would really help you in the calculation.
You were able to do them?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, very good.
Maths have always interested me. I was 100 in class 10th also. And even I thought of taking maths in class 11th, but it was not manageable. So my parents dropped it and I'm happy with that. Right. I won't be able to manage that.
Right, good. And then with math itself, it is actually 11, 12 maths is very demanding.
Yeah, right, ma'am.
Right,
Even I would say always allocate 10 minutes for maths in your mocks. Like it should not be that you are sacrificing maths for some other sections.
right,
Just solve the other part in 1 hour and 50 minutes. After that, 10 minutes at least should be there for QT, or 15 probably.
right, right. So, lastly, GK section. How did you go about your GK preparation and GK notes, and what did you do with respect to
I
this?
don't think it matters anymore after what I did with the GK in CLAT and ALET also, to be honest.
ALET had actually very different kind of GK, but you must have scored still like 20 plus, right?
Right, ma'am.
So that's decent. It's like you are at a different level, so you think it's not worth it. But ask those
Yeah.
who scored less also, no. So
Yes,
still,
ma'am,
what
right.
did you plan out and how did it work out?
My plan usually didn't work out, so I would suggest the ideal thing for you. Basically, read newspaper daily and add one UPSC website.
Right.
Like it could be either Drishti IAS or GK Today. That should be on your daily basis. After that, you can do some weekly magazines. I think LPT release one, or you can try some compendium, maybe Pratyogita Darpan or something like that.
Right.
Then
Anything? What would overall other things you would recommend? कि extra क्या कर सकते हैं बच्चे? Like, do you recommend students to make GK notes diary or revision diary? How much
yes, ma'am, I do.
GK revision would you recommend?
Ma'am, I would say make a notes daily. Like just note out 2 to 3 relevant news that are there in the news section. So then you can update that also. Like most of the topics are developing, be it Ukraine, Russia, be it or some mainly the geopolitical events are developing things, or APASFA as well. They were continually in use for 1 to 2 months. So they make it relevant as well. And if you want to cover them exhaustively, you have to do it daily. Like the new facts you discover, you can add it there. Maybe for big topics, you can go for online because there is a feature of editing as well. But for small topics, I would say make your notebooks.
And how
It's
much?
easy
How
to
much?
revise
Like,
from that.
and how frequently to revise them?
I think either before every mock, like you are giving mock on Sunday, so revise on Saturday, or you can do it fortnight. The basic idea is to get your facts revises as many times as possible, because the major problem that student faces are they have made a bulky notebook, maybe one 400-page notebook. I myself have that one.
So
But
you
the
would
problem, but
you
the
would
problem
revise
is
all of that?
not really. But that's the thing that students have to improve, and I didn't. Like they should revise at least fortnight or maybe in a month, so that the topics are in their mind.
True, true. Right. So this is what with respect to GK. Now I would also like you to tell me like what was your mock sequence? This is a very asked question. Like what was the sequence of your subjects mock wise?
I mostly prefer to start with English, then GK, then legal. The best part about this sequence is you don't mark the OMR wrong. Like sometime when I start with CR, the problem that is you mark some other options, like maybe you mark 66% or maybe you mark some other question. So if you attempt in sequence till 105%, that thing is eliminated. Then the other sequence that I also try is starting with legal, because legal is something that is scary. So if you start with that, you are a fresh mind, you can think better, because English is a direct thing. You mostly find your answers in the passage itself. So it can be done in the last part as well. So maybe start with legal, then move to GK, then you can move to CR, then QT, then English, or something like that. Basic idea is to put QT and GK in as 2 and 4 subject so that you don't get tired.
And don't get bored of what you are continuously reading kind of thing.
Yes, right. If you read 1 hour, that's really tiring. After that, your mind doesn't even work.
Right. So that was your sequence. And you followed this sequence till end?
No, ma'am. In CLAT, I actually changed it.
What
Maybe I was
it?
anxious or something like that. But I go through the paper at once for the starting 1 minute. So I find that the CR section was a little, what do we say? It was short, basically. It was 300 word or 200 word passages. So I thought, why not get a time advantage here? So I started with CR, then I moved to QT because it was an order and I like to be in order. So then after that, I moved to English part. No, sorry, legal. I did legal first because it was the rank thing. So I thought if there is a tie, that would give me advantage. Then after that, I did GK and at last English. Although it was really tiring, I was left with 25 minutes for English and I have to rush, although I completed 1 minute before that. But
Right.
it was really exhausting.
So
which was
total
the
number
passage
of
I did.
attempt, your total number of attempts were
149.
149. Yes, yes. That's a very good, impressive number of attempts. Good. So you attempted 149 and then you managed to score very good 117,
Right.
right? Okay. So another thing I wanted to ask you was with respect to, how much time allocation subject wise students must be doing, and what was your time allocation for each subject?
It mostly varies with the strength and the weaknesses. Like I was able to solve QT in 12 minutes also if they are easy. So for personally me, it was 30 minutes for English, 30 minutes for CR, then 40 minutes for legal, 5 to 6 minutes for GK, and then the remaining time goes to QT. But it depends upon the strength and weakness. Plus, you are not really required to do 150 attempts. So when you go back, you can also do 25 minutes for English or maybe 35 minutes for legal. Basically, try to solve it as early as possible. But it's all right if you are extending as well. If you are confident that you will be able to score, you can extend 2 to 3 minutes also. That's my feel.
Okay. So, but you can be kind of adjustable with the time slot, or you should strictly follow that.
I have given a lot of mock, so after one point, I was actually fixed with that. Like it happens so naturally with me that I don't even realize, but I was finishing on time. If I am not finishing, I was leaving it.
Right. So that is one point, because a lot of students know, they think that they are good in this section and they want to make sure that they attempt this whole section, even if the section ends up being tougher or something.
I
So
think
what
there
is
is
the
a max
strategy
time
for
thing.
those kind of mocks when the section is unexpected?
I think there is a max time thing. Like you can give that many time only. After that, you have to skip. Either you are half passage or you are yet to complete one or two passage itself. So for me, like I don't extend the English and CR after 32 minutes. That's my best I can go. For GK, it's a 7 minute always. After that, it never go. Then for legal, the max time was for me 45 minutes. That was basically in the starting. After that, I moved it to 40.
Okay, okay, good, good. So in total, how many mocks did you appear for?
More than 100. It was
More
a
than
2 year experience.
timing, right?
Definitely, but I feel sectional test helps more in that. Like a basic idea is to improve the concepts in your practice and apply this concept in your actual examination.
No, because I come across a lot of students who would tell me that, okay, section wise, they have, they are scoring very good. But as soon as they transfer themselves to the mock part, they don't score as expected they would do in an individual sectional
It
test.
sometimes happens due to the pattern as well. But I mostly suggest that one mock a week is enough for that. Or maybe you can push to two when you are anxious or you are feeling low with yourself. But the basic idea is you should be able to analyze and know your weakness. After that, the practice part comes into the picture.
Right. So first doing your mock, then analyzing it, and then making sure that you are,
Yes, ma'am.
working on the mistakes as well.
Yes, ma'am. And try to do difficult things more.
Right.
Like an easy thing would come into the exam, but you have to be prepared for to the difficult parts. That's where you will get the rank.
Right. Okay. So we actually used to make a lot of difficult mocks, I think, because the standard used to be very high compared to anything else. So I guess automatically you feel happy after seeing a easy mock compared to a lengthy one.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
That's a happiness.
That's correct.
Even that's a confidence you need also sometimes. Like if you are continuously scoring low and there is an easy mock and you are able to score high, you have a confidence that next mock also you will be able to score that mark. Like once I achieved 135 marks in one of the mock, I was confident that I can score any marks in these, no matter what the mock is. I don't score that much. That was my highest and the only score.
Okay.
But still,
What
basically
was
you
your
get the
lowest
confidence.
score?
62 probably.
Okay.
It
So
was in
like,
my first year journey.
okay. So how do you cope with it when the scores go up and down? What would you recommend students how to deal with the stress part?
I think you should get back to the basics. Like start afresh. See where you go wrong. What are the problems that you are currently facing, be it personal problems, be it academic problems, and then try to make a solution out of that. Maybe don't give a mock for 1 week, only do the practice, consult some teacher, consult some student who are scoring good, and basically know where you are going wrong and improve that.
Right. Okay. And what would you recommend students related to this whole social media and online time they have? Like, Would you recommend students to sincerely devote it, or like how much time you spent on Insta and Snapchat?
I'm not on instant Snapchat, but the basic thing is that you need relax.
Okay.
You need to have something where you can just go out and explore.
Unwind.
Right. Just maybe vent out your frustration and other things. But it should not be in two axes. Like you are using it, it's all right, but just have a control on that. And when you are studying, keep your phone away. Don't do it at that time.
Okay, okay. So on an average, what do you think? How many hours you devoted for your CLAT preparation?
Probably 6 to 8.
6 to 8 on regular basis.
Yes, right.
Right. So you
My
were,
most,
yes, tell me.
most of my day starts at 8 in the morning. Like that's the time I wake up. So I started study at 9 or 10, and then I stretches to 11 or 12. Evening section I never study. Evening I have a walking habit, or just I sit there if I am not walking.
Right, right, good.
So mostly it's
And
6 to 8 hours.
your place is very nice. I've been there.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
whole greenery surrounding that.
Really
Such
beautiful to walk right here.
right, right. That's a very nice place too. Right. So other than that, what are the things you'll tell? What are the things you would recommend students that these are the things they must do,
I think
irrespective of everything?
I think I would recommend some sources to read.
Right.
Like they can try live law columns or Economist magazine or Mint newspaper. I like its opinion pages. They are quite unique compared to other newspapers.
Right.
So sometime when you have extra time, you can try reading them online. And
Right.
one more is Indian Express editorials. They
Right.
are also quite different from what the Hindu prints. And they have a creative liberty also if you compare with them, and a higher vocabulary.
Okay.
Even sometime I read the Indian Express editorials and the news from Hindu. That's like I mixed them if I have less time.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. So finally, I want to ask you, what do you plan to do with respect to, future? Like, what are you planning?
My main plan is to go with litigation, but I'm ready to explore different things also. I can go with civil services as well if I like it. Matlab. It's not that I am rigid with my litigation things. It was the passion that I started my law with. So I probably would go with that.
Okay, because lot of students who get into law school, basically they do not opt for both of these things, right? They're more of it into corporate law or something.
Corporate, I think थोड़ा exhaustive हो जाता है वो hustler culture. So I prefer to build a litigation part. That's a passion thing. Like you can choose which client you want to cater or where you want to deal with.
I'm going to be in touch with you till 5 years, okay? To see
Definitely,
where
ma'am.
did you go. I'll remind
Right,
you
ma'am.
this.
The basic idea is to get an authority type thing for me. So
Okay.
maybe rise up to the ladder, be the chief justice, be the attorney general, or anything like that.
Good, good. You have to aspire. You aspired to get into Bangalore and then you worked for it and you did it. So yes, if you aspire and you work for it, it can definitely be there on cards.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. And lastly, with your permission, everyone, if you want to interact or ask Harshit doubt, you can connect with him on other portal. Even under the video, if you'll comment and ask for his guidance, he's going to help you out, I guess. Yes, Harshit?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Right. On Telegram also, you can find him. And
I will have to drop my ID for that.
so
I will
yes,
drop it in the
probably.
comment section.
Yes, I'll drop his ID in the comment section for if you want. He's not on Insta, but ultimately you'll be required to get on the Insta, no? After
Definitely,
leaving the
ma'am.
Bangalore.
It's just a matter of few days. After that, I will make my ID when I get a little free from the relatives and just the interview part.
And this is the right time.
Yes, ma'am, right.
A lot of
It
people
was the
would
free time.
Right. And plus, a lot of people might still be already be searching for you on the Insta, no?
Right, ma'am. Actually, I made an ID also in class 10th, but when it gets a little addictive, I deleted it basically.
Good, good.
Plus, I
No.
don't like that much it, like the shorts and people communicating and sharing memes. That's not really my type.
Okay, okay. Let's see what you do in future. And I'm very hopeful about how you are going to pursue your law in future. And I hope Bangalore would also be very proud of you for whatever you achieve for them.
I will try my best with that.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Harshit, for joining us today and helping out the future aspirants, making sure that they have a good guidance related to every subject and timing and mock and everything. So thank you so much once again, Harshit. Hope to see you in person also.
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Okay.
I hope the same.
Right. Okay, everyone. Bye-bye.